Do you ever have this sense when you're following your bliss, as I have at moments, of being helped by hidden hands?
All the time. It's miraculous. I even have a superstition that has grown on me as the result of invisible hands coming all the time. Namely, that if you do follow your bliss, you put yourself on a kind of track that has been there all the while waiting for you. And the life that you ought to be living is the one you're living somehow.
I've meditated in the foothills of the Himalayas, and on the cliffs of the Aran Islands, and seated in the sands of Capri. I've spent days in silence in a Buddhist hermitage near the Smoky Mountains, have led others in practice in the Guatemalan highlands above Lake Atitlan, and have sat inside of prison walls in front of rooms full of inmates, their eyes closed, their breaths steady, a calm, easy quiet enveloping the entire room. But of all the places I've practiced, it's on the cushion in my living room where I sit first thing in the morning after my cup of coffee day after day that has made the most indelible impact. Somehow that's led to the last few years of sharing these practices with high school students and teachers, police officers and COs, athletes and the incarcerated, healthcare workers, first responders, dear friends, total strangers, first-timers, and the most well-seasoned practitioners I have ever met. I've led the bendiest yogis alongside people who never thought they'd meditate a day in their lives, and in the twistiest twists of fate, I actually taught my meditation teacher's son to meditate. And not for a single second did I plan any of it, and never did the possibility of this cross my mind. I just downloaded an app. I started with 10 minutes a day, and I never planned on telling anyone I meditated. But with no idea of where it would lead, the more I practiced, the more unfair it seemed to keep this secret for myself. False beliefs and misgivings about who I was and about the world around me started falling away, and little by little something else emerged. 6.5 years later, what keeps me coming back is that ever-available space at the very core of our being, which can't be swayed or altered by the changing winds of the world, and emerges only when you're quiet enough to really hear. That's the place to which I try to return over and over again, and probably where all our days should begin. And though nothing is a straight line, since my life has started to spin on this axis, there have been moments and chances, opportunities and synchronicities, friendships, and a depth to the color of life that has been effortlessly bubbling to the surface ever since. There have been things too random and perfect to make any sense of, and I know deep down in places people don't talk about because words can't describe those places, that wherever this bliss leads, I will follow. And more than anything else, that is what's worth sharing. Because there is knowledge, there are practices and trainable skills that actually quiet the mind. They open the heart and reveal a bliss that leads to the life you ought to be living. And along the way, doors will open in places you never thought they were going to be.
I say follow your bliss and don't be afraid, and doors will open where you didn't know they were going to be.